Welcome to one of the many places I store planes. I want to talk about this Banana Hobby plane rack, 18-inch one. My problem that I had was I had a lot of these fuselages stacked up, and then I had a lot of other planes up against those. One, it looked messy. Two, I was going to at some point damage one of my planes. And some of the foam planes are a little bit more, they're easy to dent, but I also have, my big, beautiful Extreme Flight that I didn't want anything to happen to also. So I wanted to protect this. So this rack right here for 150 bucks took 30 minutes to install. And you might be saying, whoa, that's a lot of money for a plane rack. Think about how much money I have on this plane rack. Think how much money I have invested in these planes. You have the same. Now, granted, you could go ahead. I have a whole wood shop in the garage. I could make something. You bet. I'm going to spend all day doing it, and I'll probably spend 50 bucks on material. I could do it with PVC, and I've made many little racks and things with PVC. But with all those little connectors you got to buy, it's going to cost a couple bucks. You're going to spend nearly $100. And it's going to take a long time to make. So with this, 30 minutes, $150. Another part of this is the design of this. Yes, you could redo that design in PVC maybe, for wood for sure. It's at a slant. So that offsets all of these planes. So you don't have as much of an issue of tails and props poking each other, and you can condense it. You can get 6 planes on here. Now, some of these planes, I got a Bigfoot on here. I've got a little mini Futura on it. I've got some more fuselages that you've seen in my other videos that I might move out here. I don't know. We'll see. Bottom line was I was looking for a solution that was one, strong, keep my large, expensive planes safe, and this fit the bill. I can also store some of the wings out here. As you've seen, I got the Avanti wings and the Super Tucano wings on the rack. So instead, I used to tuck them in a corner or put them somewhere. Now they're safe and sound right here. Nice thing about this rack, it is self-standing. So if I want to move it, I can. I know Model Aviator, Adam, he put a little carpet under his so he could pull it out to get behind it because he was storing other things behind it. Just another way of getting creative on storing your planes. So next, what I'm going to do is go through the parts, go through the assembly. Some of the documentation didn't line up perfectly, especially with the hardware. But again, it was a 30-minute install. If you've ever attached screws and bolts and washers and such, I think you're going to be okay building this thing in 30 minutes. So I'm going to take you along the ride with that. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If you like this kind of stuff, obviously hit the like button. Thanks a lot. All right, here's the Banana Hobby RC plane storage rack system. All the parts, the foam, very good quality, high density stuff. Has plastic caps on everything. I can't say, you're spending $150, $160 on it. But I will say that the quality is pretty good. The welds on these tubes, that's nothing to write home about. They're just little spot welded on and they're not great. But the paint's good. Each one of these things is covered in plastic and taped as far as all the bars. Be cautious when you're cutting that with your knife so you don't scrape up your pretty paint. Not that it matters, but it might matter to you. Hardware. I put these numbers on there which correlate to the documentation. These are the bags N1 through N5. As you're assembling, it'll say, hey, use screws from N4. That's pretty handy, right? So once you get that all nailed down, the installation should go pretty quick. So we're going to go through that installation. I'm going to show parts of it. I think it's pretty much a no-brainer on putting this together. First thing, assemble the base. And as you'll notice here, I'm not using my screw gun anymore. I just felt using screwdriver was going to be a lot better way to do it and maybe minimize some damage. So the screws that they're calling for in the base assembly are correct. All right, now we start putting up the uprights, and so it pivots. So there's a couple fiddly screws you got to mess with. Also, keep note that some of the bag that they tell you to use doesn't include additional washers. You need to go to N5 for all those extra washers. All right, so you just put together the upright or where the holders are in. Now you have part number C1 and C2. It says to use N2, but those screws aren't going to work and there's not enough of them. So you're going to have to dip into N5. Also remember, there's a lot of washers in there that should be using. The other part is on those uprights, C1, C2, make sure they're in the right orientation. You'll know what I mean when you start attaching everything. Next step's pretty simple, right? You're just going to have to figure out how you want to space out all these plane holders and install them all. It doesn't take, it's not a big deal. They're slightly smaller screws and nuts. I think it's 8 millimeter versus 10 millimeter. Goes together quick, and then you're done. Really appreciate you watching the video. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Have a great day.